Well, good morning. You guys get to see me at my best today. Got my coffee though, so that's the important part. Oh gosh, what's today? 1st of July or something like that? It's been about 5 weeks since we've been up here at the property. In that time, it's been moved. My father-in-law needed the space for his trailer to go, so it's been moved and it's been tarped. They've had a few weather events up here since we were last up here, but for the most part it looks like it's weathered pretty well. Get you a little shot inside, not that you can really see it. But yeah, so work shall continue as of today. Got a tiny bit more insulation to do in the floor. Finish off that cellulose. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Hey dogs. Hi. Hi. What are you guys doing? Yeah, you're super loud. I'm gonna come right out and say it. Don't use cellulose for a tiny house. Just don't do it. It's way too much work. And doing the flooring without the blower, trying to break it up manually, it's just a pain. It's just not worth it. It's not worth your time. Just get some rock sole and just do it easily. So there's my little advice for Saturday morning. So today will be roofing. Get the top plates on. The second top plate. Cut my rafters, cut the bird's mouth. Get my total ridge height set. What are you dogs doing? Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get my ridge height set. I look like crap when I'm sitting here squinting in the sun. Anyway. It'd be cool if I could get all the rafters in today. Maybe even get some roof sheeting on. That'd be really cool. I do have to re-level the trailer since it was moved. We got to re-level it, and then we'll have to, once they get the rafters on, we'll have to rack the whole thing to make sure it's square before we get the sheeting on. But that's kind of what the plan is. So we'll see what happens. Well, it's been a solid 2 weeks of work without a single update for you guys. I guess that's what happens when you have like 7 family members up here for 4th of July and everybody's working their ass off to get as much done on this house as possible. I really got to give it up to my family. And I call Taylor's family my family too. I mean, my parents came up from California. You know, they were expecting a nice leisurely vacation. Well, surprise, surprise, you get to work on a tiny house. I guess that's what happens when, you know, your dad's been a builder for 40 years. I rely on him so much for that knowledge. So yeah, here, I'm gonna get a little shot here. This sucker's dried in. Except for the door. The door's not in. And that was on purpose because
Really, I don't want to go through all the trouble of setting the door, only to, you know, bang it up and all that kind of stuff while I'm doing all the interior work. So I'm gonna zip a 4x8 sheet of plywood on the front, just so that we don't get any water penetration, and it'll, you know, hopefully we can come back up here in a month and get the siding on. That would be sweet. Inside, most of my electrical is done. I'm gonna say like 85% of my electrical is done. I still gotta do all the overhead cans. And plumbing, I started and damn near finished the plumbing yesterday. Using the PEX tubing, the PEX A tubing that you use an expander for. Super easy to work with. I use the Uponor Wurzbo, which from what I'm told is like the gold standard for what professionals use in residential and commercial. So, you know, I bit the bullet and spent the extra, like, I don't know, 15% more than PEX B, or 20% more than PEX B. And in case you don't know the difference, PEX A, you use a tool and you expand the tubing open, and you slip your fitting in real quick, and it kind of shrinks back down, and it gives you a really, really tight seal. And PEX B, it has smaller fittings, so they actually slip into the tube without any expansion, and then you use a crimp tool with a little metal ring and you crimp it down on there. And, you know, I'm just gonna go from prior experience with crimp stuff. You know, crimping hoses on cars and all that kind of stuff. They fail. You know, and I know there's thousands and thousands of homes out there using PEX B without any problems, but, you know, this sucker is going to be moving down the road, maybe, at least once or twice in its life. I mean, most of the time it's going to it's going to be up here on the property. But, yeah, to me, it was just worth the extra money, and it's super easy to install. Like, you don't have to put the ring on, you don't have to crimp it, and then use the go, no go tool. There's like this gauge that you have to use on PEX B, that's a go, no go, and it tells you if your crimp is good or not. I just didn't want to mess with that. So, one of Shane's plumbers loaned me his Milwaukee auto power expander, and man, it took like 12 seconds per connection to put these T's and 90s and all that kind of stuff on. So hats off to Shane and his plumber for loaning me that tool, and I'm gonna need it again when I get the water heater and all that kind of stuff connected. It did make one big boo-boo on the plumbing. I just got in a rush and I was like, oh, vanity, you know, plumb under the vanity, 18 inches off the floor or whatever. So I did that whole thing, and then like a dumbass, I'm like, we're putting in a wall faucet. The vanity has a wall-mounted faucet. So I gotta go down to storage, I gotta get the faucet valve, I gotta mount it, and then I gotta redo those two T's to plumb the vanity. Exterior, let me kind of give you a little shot of what's going on in the exterior. So here is the electrical panel. So I went with a Square D Homeline 100 amp panel. I think it's an 8-space 16 circuit. Smallest panel I could find for a mains panel. And it's gonna be plenty. I'm not gonna go over 16 circuits. That's just ridiculous. We're gonna have a 50 amp 240 feed standard RV connection coming into the house. So technically 100 amps of 120, but it's, you know, 50 amps of 240. So this panel is double what I really needed, but like I said, it's the smallest panel I could find. Let me give you some real close-ups here. So I got the main breaker. These are the 8 branches, and you can see I got all my circuits that I already ran coming in, and I, you know, just kind of temporarily labeled the Romex, using 12.2 for all my plugs. I'm also using 12 since I'm using LED everywhere, LED lighting I pretty much ran my lighting circuits as branches off of my my plugs, because I really didn't need, you know, a dedicated 15 amp circuit or anything like that for the lighting. Is just overkill. So let me show you the front. These windows, man. Oh, the windows. Look at these windows. It's kind of hard to see right now, but black. They're vinyl Windsor windows. They're all casement. So I'll show you what the difference with casement is versus slider. So we got one here. This is the bathroom window. And then I'm gonna kind of like walk away. There we go. So you can see you got 3 windows up top. We got a nice big 5-foot double casement window right there. This one here is a awning window. So these two here are fixed because they're kind of in the clear story area. But this one is in the loft. And this is mirrored on the other side too. I'll show you. But basically on either side of the bed, we got these awning windows. And the awning windows, they kind of do this. So you can have them open while it's raining and all that kind of stuff. You can still get a breeze going in, but you won't get any like water penetration. I did a quick shot with the drone while Shane was up working on the roof. The roof, it looks amazing. Black standing seam. So the black standing seam matches the black frames on all the windows. And you can see I got everything wrapped in Tyvek. Real good old genuine Tyvek. And you can kind of see here, let me kind of whoop like this. So we got like a little 1-foot soffit eave over here, and we're gonna put a couple downlights there that's gonna be attached to the outdoor circuit. Oh, I promised to go to the other side so that you could see the matching window config. So awning window, 2 fixed windows, and then this is a 4-foot casement window that's over the bathroom or the sink, kitchen sink. Gotta say the Tyvek. I've never done house wrap, and Tyvek it's an interesting process. I kind of enjoyed it. You know, you roll it out, you staple it on, you cut all your seams, you tape them. It's good stuff. All right, camera, readjust for the lighting. Okay. When my glasses are down, you can't tell that I'm not looking straight into the lens. Yeah, let me show you the windows since we're already talking about windows. Look at these cool grills. Ooh. These are Taylor's choice. But basically the way the casement works, you got this little lever lock, and they got a little crank. Never mind the white here, we got caps that are gonna go on there. But basically you just crank them open like this. And to me, that's just so much more classy than a slider. I just love them. And the black is gonna look so cool against the white tongue and groove interior siding. So this is the bathroom again. Same grill config. If you look up here, all of the fixed windows have the same grill config, same with the awning. Let me see if I can kind of show you how the awning looks. Let me look through the, that won't work. That's way too bright. Let's go outside. Here we go. There's the awning. So you can see it kind of just tips up. So I thought those would be really cool. Talking about electrical a little bit, I don't know if you can kind of see. This is our main switch. It's a 4-gang switch panel here that's going to be used for all the lighting. So the overhead lighting, outdoor lighting, sconces that are going to be on either side of the TV. What else do I got there? Oh yeah, chandelier. There's going to be like a cool little chandelier up top. Over near the sink, I have plugs on either side of the sink. I also have a switch for a pendant light that's going to be over the sink, and garbage disposal. I don't know if I put the garbage disposal in immediately, but something I wanted just in case. So here's my little plumbing mistake. That would have been awesome if we were using a standard vanity and a standard, standard sink that comes up through the bottom of the vanity. But I need to put wall-mounted valve right there. So all the plumbing's got to come up, not down. And you can kind of see here how I've routed my electrical and plumbing through the walls. The PEX is real nice and flexible, and I used these metal braces, 90-degree braces. Let me focus over there. So it'll keep it from kinking in those locations. Right here is where my final T's are going to be, where they exit the back of the house and go into the utility box. Let's see, over here, that's going to be the tub filler, toilet, and ice maker box to feed the ice maker on the refrigerator. Got the door right here. So the door is a black 4-light. So what that basically means is it's got 4 window cutouts. So it's a real modern look, but I think it's gonna be cool. Let me see what else I got to talk about. So I talked about the sconces on either side. We have circuit for the TV, and then we're gonna have a dedicated circuit for the fireplace because it pulls like 1800 watts. So that really needs its own 20 amp circuit. Refrigerator has its own dedicated circuit as well. And then up there, 2 sconces that are controlled by this switch, and 2 outlets. The top outlet in each of those is also going to be controlled by that switch, because the lights that we bought aren't sconce lights. They're not. They don't mount and get their power from the sconce boxes. They have a little dangly cord that plug in, and we still want to be able to control those from that switch. So that's why we're going to have the bottom outlet is going to be powered constantly. The top outlet's going to be switched. And you can do that just by cutting these little metal connectors that are inside the switch itself. All of the major switches are going to be smart switches so that we can power them with Alexa. So I'm going to try and smart the home as much as I can, which, if you've ever met me, you know is my thing. I smart everything. I think that's about it. So it is mid-July, and we're driving back to California starting today. So it'll be about a month before I have another update, but I think by then I should have siding here. I'll get that last dedicated circuit done for the fireplace, get this plumbing completely wrapped up, and then I can start insulating. That's gonna be fun. I got spray foam quotes, absolutely ridiculous. They went like $5,500, $6,000 to spray foam this, so I'm probably gonna go with rock wool. I learned my lesson with the cellulose in the floor. It's gonna have to all come back up. That was just a dumb move. I shouldn't have even considered it. So the subfloor has to come up, and the cellulose has to come out, because the house wasn't dried in and it got wet, plain and simple. And when cellulose gets wet, it's totally worthless. It's pretty much like soaking newspaper in water. So all that's coming up. Rock wool is going to go on the floor. The ceiling I'm going to do rigid and rock wool, and then the walls are going to do rock wool. And then I'll put up a smart membrane so that the walls can breathe out, but moisture can't get into the walls. I think that'll help a lot. And then I got to look at passive airflow and active airflow and all that kind of stuff to make sure that we don't get any condensation or moisture inside the house. Because we're looking at pretty extreme temperatures. Like it was 102 this weekend, and it'll get all the way down to 0 degrees in the winter. So I really have to consider those extreme temperatures when I'm looking at the insulating materials. At this point, I've learned 2 or 3 really good lessons, and if you're watching this video and you're considering doing the exact same thing, I will give those to you right now. First one is go 16 on center. Don't bother with going 24 on center. You're not going to save that much wood because there's so much blocking that you have to do. You have all of the windows and everything, take extra sticks of lumber. Just do 16 on center. I got the idea to use a bunch of extra Simpson braces from a couple videos online. They weren't worth it. They caused problems in putting sheeting on. They caused problems with setting windows because that extra thickness of the steel plate, it just gets in the way. So frame your, use traditional 16 on center framing. Don't try and use advanced framing. Don't worry about all the extra Simpson brackets. The wall sheeting, the exterior sheeting is plenty of shear. Those are 2 big things. And the third one is obviously the cellulose insulation. Those are the 3 boo-boos that I would have changed. I would have gone 16 on center, not used the Simpson stuff. And I would have not put the cellulose in the floor. Actually, I wouldn't have even insulated the floor at all. I should have just laid the subfloor down loose with a couple tack screws and left it at that, and just not even bothered trying to put insulation in the subfloor and seal it up yet. It was just too early. Because the walls don't lock the subfloor down, I really could have done it at any time. And now I've kind of learned my lesson and I got to do it again. So it's a couple $100 and a full day's worth of work that I lost by doing that. So learn from my lessons or learn from my errors. If you got any questions, comment below, send me an email, do whatever. I'm happy to answer questions. All right, until next time, guys. Bye.